Hello, everyone. I'm here with Nic Campesi of Liquihash on our weekly conversation about Bitcoin mining. Nick, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Riley.
So I'm excited for this chat because a couple weeks ago you went to the a Bitcoin mining conference, pretty big one. So I have a ton of questions for you. But generally, how did that go?
Yeah, it's funny. It's you say pretty big. It was great. It was an awesome conference, but it was a lot bigger when Bitcoin was $60,000, and that's in the bear market, a lot of the enthusiasts just fall by the wayside, and you've got the guys that are sitting here still building. There's a lot of news, a lot of talk. Mergers, acquisitions going on, and just kind of been through some of these down cycles in the past. It's really a time where, it's time to plant the trees so you can enjoy the shade when they grow in a few years.
Yeah, that's what they say, right? The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, chopping that saying to pieces right there. But what are some new exciting developments in the Bitcoin mining industry according to the conference you went to?
Yeah, I think that we're seeing this trend that I've been on for a little while now of, we've got to get really close to the energy, own the energy. We're seeing a lot of a shift in the narrative from Bitcoin uses too much power to, wait, you're saying that it could be carbon negative by mitigating methane emissions, landfill gas, all these very interesting ways to generate power, which ultimately is, the key with Bitcoin mining is to become the lowest cost provider in the market.
Yeah. So what you're saying earlier, kind of want to revisit that. When Bitcoin was, much more expensive, everyone was into it. But now that Bitcoin, it's at a decently low point, definitely. It's not at zero by any means, but everyone's selling right now. It's a bear market, very interesting. But doesn't that mean it's time to start mining and get the ball rolling?
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is the time that you make your investments in mining. When you're able to buy mid-generation miners now, at $10-15 a terahash that we're selling for 10 times that in like just a year ago. And it's funny, that's when everyone was calling me wanting to get involved in it. And now all I hear is crickets. But I say that, I am starting to see, this is the more savvy investors are understanding to say, hey, now is the time to start putting capital into this. Maybe it's not the time to put all your capital in, but it's time to start dollar cost averaging in and build a position.
It's very interesting. So I've noticed, and we probably all felt it, around the world in many different countries, that energy prices are sky high right now, and lots of interesting conversations could be just centered on that. But it looks like, long story short, the prices are not coming down for a while, possibly. And when an energy company, for example, has like excess energy, it really does make sense to use a Bitcoin mine to harvest that and to utilize it instead of wasting it, right? Especially during this energy crisis, you could call it. Can any energy company really participate in creating a Bitcoin mine to utilize their excess energy?
Yes. Bitcoin mining is the buyer first, last resort, but that doesn't mean you always should do it. Look, we've got assets right now that it makes more sense to sell the energy because we're going to make more selling the energy than we would mining Bitcoin. And so there are cases that you need to look at from, why are you making this investment? Is it to be run part of the time when the load's not needed to help pay for the infrastructure? Or is this something that you're doing because there's no other way to monetize the energy. So, the money that you do get it's worthwhile. And you figure out what your generation costs are and you say, does this make sense? And so, yeah, anyone can do it.
It's very interesting. I've also noticed that Bitcoin, at least at this point of time, kind of seems unaffected by the Fed's constant interest rate hikes, right? Even though I will say Bitcoin, it's fallen a lot and it's kind of sitting still. If you look at like a long-term chart, it's kind of just sitting there around 20,000. Maybe that's a support level. Who knows? But why do you think Bitcoin isn't really being affected by the rates lately? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of been priced in, and you've got buyers in the market. So, there's people that are institutions that are making purchases for whether it's private spot ETFs or what institutions that just say, hey, I want this on the balance sheet. They're sucking up that the minor sell pressure that's happening right now. And I think whenever that all ends, that it's the price has gone up. How long it's going to take, I don't know. Is it going lower? Maybe. But what I do know is if you look at a risk adjusted of what it can do and what we're up against, that you got more risk not having a position than having a position. And so it's a really good risk adjusted bet right now. And that's why, I'm so into mining, is when I realized that, you can tax efficiently deploy capital into something that is going to allow you to just by nature dollar cost average in. It's, I think it's the most powerful way to invest.
And you're saying that, a lot of big players are in the game nowadays and they're eating up that price. Is this like a new era for that compared to like 5-10 years ago where there weren't many big players compared to now? Is this something that's going to continue?
Yeah. I mean, if my theory is right, that, Bitcoin becomes, the store of value for transmitting money around the world and value. Yeah, I mean, it's gone a lot higher. And the reason being is because, you've got a fixed amount of Bitcoin in the market that it's just naturally going to drive the price up, denominated in dollar terms, but as more people put more dollars into it.
It's very interesting. So now's the time to start building your Bitcoin mining facility, right?
Yeah, I mean, the time was yesterday. I mean, it's always in the past. But I mean, it's if you haven't, and you've got an energy source, whether it be stranded gas, a landfill, potentially some kind of chemical process or power that you're cogening and sell into the grid for a lower than market value, maybe you could go in and capture that at a high value with the potential upside to get way more than that value in the future when the market corrects. But you got to make those investments now because there's a lag time in setting up infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone says they wish they invested in Bitcoin 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Anyone can easily say that, but only the savvy investor that's thinking ahead can say that, wow, now's the time, not 10 years ago, which I wish I jumped in then, but now's the second opportunity. We got to get going. So,
yeah,
exactly. So that's all the time we have today for this weekly conversation. Thank you so much, Nic, for teaching us so much. It's really enlightening. And if you have any questions for anyone listening, or you want to learn more about Liquihash, please go to liquihash.com. That's LIQUIHASH.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, Nic.